Hi, I'm Greg Howlett. I'm going to cover something today that's a little bit light, and I know a lot of you are thinking it's about time because there's been some heavy stuff that I've been posting lately. But I want to talk today about how to play quietly. Now, if I was coming into your church to do a clinic, I'd probably give you 10. As a matter of fact, I have a little session where I go through 10 tips to play quiet music. And I'll work through a couple of those over the next coming weeks. But I want to talk about one of those, just one of those for a few minutes today, and that is the subject of voicing. Now, if you're a music major, if you have a degree in music, it's very likely that you still have never heard of the term voicing. I'm not sure if it may not be used very much in the classical world. It's very much used. It's a topic there's a lot of discussion about in modern music. And it's a very, very important topic. I was at a conference last week, and I saw there's an arranger. She's writing great stuff. And I went up and asked her about her. I had noticed in her writing that she was using voicing that I really liked. And I went up and said, hey, I like your voicing. Where did you study voicing? And she didn't actually know what I was talking about. She does it great. She does it naturally, instinctively, or maybe she knew it under a different title. But she didn't actually know what I meant by voicing. So here, let me tell you what I mean by voicing. Voicing means the order that you play the notes on the piano. For example, if I tell you to play an E flat chord, you can play it like that, just E flat, G, and B flat. Or you can play it like this, E flat, B flat, and G. Either way works. But there's a difference. We call them different voicings, and there's two different styles of voicing. The first one is called closed voicing. This is closed. Now that voicing means that all the notes are crammed together. They're put together as close as they can, just stacked on top of each other. Open voicing, on the other hand, would be this, and that means you spread out the notes. Doesn't have anything to do with where you put them. We could play that here or here, but it means that there's going to be a lot of gaps, fifth, sixth, or whatever, in between the notes. Now, if you're playing quiet music in a church, open voicing is the way to go. It's going to sound better. And so a lot of us have never ever worked on this. This is something that I've had to work on so hard over the past years. As a matter of fact, I can remember, not the past year, years. And I remember walking around when I first started learning formulas for voicings. I remember walking around with flashcards, memorizing. Okay, if the melody note is a sharp 9 and I'm playing a dominant chord, I need to play 1 and 7 in the left hand and 3 flat 13 and sharp 9 in the right hand. That kind of detail. Those are the kind of things I used to memorize, and I'd play voicings all the time until I got instinctive at it. If you want to do that, take my course. It's great, it's helpful, you get to the point where you just use the right voicings. But I just want to give you a few thoughts today on how to, just some generic things that you can do to help your voicing. By the way, voicing is so important that it is often the difference between sounding good and not sounding good. If I showed you a lead sheet, for example, I might show you to play a melody note with a certain chord. Very, very often, if you don't know the right voicing, you'll play the chord and say, oh, that's a mistake. The wrong chord is there, because you don't know the voicing, a voicing that works for it. So voicing very, very often is what makes the difference between sounding good and not sounding good. But in terms of soft music, voicing is very important to get you a soft sound. Now, let's get back to some things that you can do. I don't want to get too far off topic. First of all, we got to eliminate doubling from our music. A lot of us play, if you're playing quiet music, a lot of us will play something like that. I'm going to be practicing or demonstrating on at the cross. Okay, for example, we'll play something like that. Now, I'm just playing an E flat chord in the left hand and a melody note here, G. The problem is I'm doubling. I'm doubling the G. The G doesn't belong. So you have this. It's harder to control the sound of that as opposed to this. Okay? One sounds really, really good. The other one doesn't, at least to me. Over time, you start hearing doubling and it starts bothering you. So, I first of all say to eliminate all the double notes you possibly can. The only note that you should double in this kind of music is the melody note. And only double the melody note if you have to. A lot of times the melody note and the bass note are the same thing. In that case, you have to double. But other than that, try to avoid doubling anything. Now, the other thing is you can, instead of playing this, go ahead and move the G and play an open fifth in your left hand. Don't play a full chord, just play fifths or sixths or sevenths. Those are called shell voicings. And they're your friend. Shell voicings are what will give you a good sound. Let me show you. Right there, I'm playing a 1 and 5 in the left hand, and I'm playing 7-3 in the right hand. It's creating an interval of a fifth in the left hand and a fourth in the right hand. Same thing there. I'm playing a fifth, C and G, and I'm playing B flat and E flat in the right hand, which is a fourth. Same thing. I'm doing the same thing over again. All I'm doing there is I'm playing fairly complicated chords. I'm not playing anything but block chords, but it sounds sort of quiet because of the voicing. The voicing is open. There's no doubling, and I'm spreading out the notes. Very, very important to do that. By the way, when you're looking at a situation like that, a lot of times you'll use arpeggios. Just to demonstrate you can do it without arpeggios, I just used block chords and shell voicings, just simple intervals in the left hand. But if you do use arpeggios, at least intersperse some left hand arpeggios, that'll also help your sound. And if you do that, by the way, open those up as well. I'm going to talk about that in a future video, by the way. But again, the key here is to eliminate doubling from your chords, and secondly, you want to spread out the notes in the chord so that instead of having thirds between the notes, you have fourths and fifths or sixths or whatever. If you do that, that'll really help you. If you want to go farther than that, learn neat voicings for various situations, then there's some stuff on the website about that, and you could also go through my course, which gives you formula after formula. Not fun, but helpful. I'll see you next time.